Yo, season freaking 2 is already here. By the time you guys see this video, it'll probably be several days after a season already dropped, but I'm still gonna put it out anyways. Editing takes me a while. I'm still learning all the tricks and ins and outs and things like that. But there have been some huge changes. Really pleased with the changes so far that I've been reading. Bandai has actually listened to the consumers, which is great to hear. Most AAA companies, you don't really get this type of, support, and it's really awesome to see. So today we're going to be talking about some of the big changes. I'll throw it up on the screen as I'm talking about it. But so background for this gameplay right here, it's going to be a little laggy because I'm on Japanese servers. For those of you that have seen my most recent Gundam Evolution video, I couldn't get into a ranked game no matter how long I waited. I was in queue for over an hour and a half, and I believe that was almost 2 weeks ago at this point. Nothing has seemingly changed. Either the servers are bad in NA, which I highly doubt. I think it's just due to a lack of players. When I switched to Japan servers, I found a game in like under 10 minutes. The latency is a little bad, but I can manage. As you can see from this gameplay, it doesn't really affect me too much. So that's probably going to be how I'm going to be playing most of my ranked games this season. I haven't finished placements yet, but I've won 2 out of 2 so far. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into the patch notes. These dropped on November 28th. I'll have the link to it in the description if you guys want to follow along. So, new unit dropped, as we all know by now. New Gundam. He's pretty good from my experience. I'll have a video out on him pretty soon. I don't think he's too broken. I think that, his ultimate definitely could use some tweaks. But overall, not as bad as like Zaiku Melee in the game first came out in Season 1. So I think overall, pretty decent job from Bandai. Alright, so getting into the nerfs and buffs, we have Pale Rider first up on the list with a pretty big nerf. As we can expect, I think I saw Pale Rider in every single ranked game, all the way from Bronze to Platinum. He's overall just a really good starter character, honestly. Just a really good machine gun that shoots straight. He has a good healing ability, but now not so much. His damage got reduced from 60 to 58, and his repair pod got a pretty significant nerf. Heals per second went from 200 to 120, and the cooldown actually went up from 14 seconds to 16 seconds. Moving on to Zaiku 2 Ranged, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a nerf. Honestly, I don't think this was deserved. I think that Zaiku 2 was in a okay spot. I think if anything, he could have needed a little bit of a buff, but they decided to nerf him. So the damage increased from 46 to 48. However, they decreased his ammo or his magazine size from 30 to 28 bullets. And they increased the points required to activate his ult from 6,500 to 6,800. I don't necessarily agree with the devs' reasoning on this. They put a pretty good sized paragraph as to why they did it above. But I'm just going to say that this was the wrong decision. Hopefully this gets reversed at some point. Alright, next up we have the changes for Gundam Barbados. Initially, he had his hit points increased from 1,000 to 1,100. His longsword ability was actually decreased in damage from 800 to 400. However, they increased the range and decreased the cooldown from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. The Alea Vignana system, his ultimate, instead of downing enemies, it now just destroys them on impact, and the points required to activate it decreased from 7,000 to 6,200. Next we have Sazabai. Really small change here. They decreased the shot spread on his main rifle from 4 to 3.3. Next we have Metis, who had a pretty big G maneuver nerf. The points required to activate went from 7,800 to 9,200. Next up we have Dom Trooper. They changed his armor gun cooldown from 10 seconds to 13 seconds. The devs also noted that in the diamond and above rate range, Dom Trooper ranks 2nd in usage rate and 3rd in kill death ratio. Honestly, for how easy he is to use, I think that he could have used a main damage nerf and maybe even slow down his G maneuver if they don't want to decrease the damage. Next we have Turner Gundam, whose overhead throw ability got a small nerf. The time until grab occurs went from 0.42 seconds to 0.5 seconds. Next we have Gun Tank, who had a small change. The multi-lock damage went from 18 to 21. The reasoning behind this was the damage to disabled units is 30, so we're revising that to 21, the same as normal damage. Next up we have quite a few changes for Gundam Exia. The GN Beam Saber, which is the ability he gets during his ult. The hit stop was decreased from 0.08 seconds to 0.05. For those of you that don't know what hit stop is, it's basically whenever you hit someone, they receive a very short stun. So basically they're decreasing that time slightly. Next up, we have a small nerf to his Sword Russian Slash ability. They basically increase the cooldown if you cancel the ability from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. They also nerfed the Quick Step ability. The cooldown increased from 9 seconds to 12 seconds. Next, a small buff to Marasai's Fading Rifle ability. They shortened the post-motion delay when a sidestep cancel is not used after the Beam Blade. Moving on to Maharu, the Rindu Grenade. The detection range went from 20 to 180, which is a crazy buff. This is a definitely well-needed buff for this character. He was super underwhelming in Season 1. I've already played a couple of games with him, and I can tell you right now that he's already significantly better. You should try him out now. Moving on to Zaikutu Melee. A small nerf for him. We have the HP decrease from 1200 to 1100. The Zeon's Rage ability got a buff from 500 to 600 armor gain during the activation. The Gartekle ability also received a nerf. The cooldown increased from 7 seconds to 9 seconds. And then finally, for his ultimate ability, the points required activation went from 8,000 to 8,500, which I think, honestly, that's probably not long enough. We'll probably see another nerf to his ultimate in the future, hopefully. Alright guys, that's all the changes to the units that were made in this patch. There's been a lot of changes to the matchmaking, but I'm not going to include that in this video. The link is in the description like I mentioned earlier, so go check that out if you want to read those. There's been a couple of tweaks to the rank system as well. So overall, I think the biggest takeaway from this balance change is that you guys in the community of Gundam Evolution have to reach out and let the devs know what needs to be changed, what's wrong with the game, and then offer solutions if you have them. If you think you have a good idea, definitely put that forward because it seems like they're taking our advice. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate all the support I've been getting on the channel. If you have anything you want to say, leave it down in the comment section. I've replied to everyone's comments so far, and I plan to do it moving forward. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.